how do we get to first principles and first values? Yes, we study, we integrate, we read, we engage visionary imagination, but we get to first principles and first values because we enter the field that lives in us. And I chant all the time. And I couldn't live without chanting, without accessing that field. Now to chant, you don't need a good voice. I'm evidence of that, right? It's got nothing to do with a good voice. It just has to do with an open heart, yearning for she, yearning for value, madly in love. So let's be madly in love. So we're doing this very special week in which we really wanted to gather in our inner community. We've had this intense 6 weeks of looking at this movie, Don't Look Up, and analyzing, right, texts of culture, right, that emerge from it. And, we did this with, hundreds of us from around the world, and thousands of us have participated in different ways. And we're now coming together, and we wanted to spend 1 week before we take this next huge step next week. We wanted to spend 1 week, in some sense, going deeply inside of ourselves and finding, right, and accessing the field out of which we live, the field out of which we work. What's our intention? Who are we? So we're a band of revolutionaries. We're a band of evolutionary lovers, of outrageous lovers. We're standing for the evolution of love. We're in this moment, which is this time between worlds. Like the Renaissance, Da Vinci, this time between stories. We're faced with enormous potential utopian possibility of unimaginable beauty. We can create a world more beautiful than we could possibly imagine. And yet looming in the horizon is the sense of catastrophic risk and existential risk, which is not utopian, but dystopian in the extreme. And I've spent the last 10 years looking at these possibilities with great intensity and seeing that this is not the threat of one person doing something crazy. These are structural problems in the very structure of things, which will inevitably lead to a level of collapse and suffering, which will either be catastrophic or, in 7 or 8 different scenarios that we've outlined in great depth, actually are existential risks, meaning there's no future. It's the end of the future. And so we've said here at One Mountain that we have to take responsibility for the unborn, that we are the voice of the future, that the future speaks through us, and that we can actually articulate a new story of value, a new vision. We can articulate the dream which carries us forward, right? A man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for, wrote the poet Browning. That is to say, we need to be reaching for a dream, reaching for a vision. And to articulate that vision, to articulate that new story of value, which is a new universe story and a new narrative of human identity and a new narrative of purpose and a narrative of passion, right, and a narrative of power, right, to actually tell that new story is the single most important thing we can do. And then, in fact, that is what Da Vinci and Marcello Ficino, that's what they all did in the Renaissance. They came together to tell that new story. And it's that new story that created modernity, right? It's that new story that created the hopes of modernity, the dignities of modernity. But it's also the failures in the plot line of the new story that created the disasters of modernity, the breakdowns, right, which have brought us to this moment, right, of potential catastrophic and existential risk. So that's who we are. That's our intention. Our intention is to play a larger game. Our intention is to participate in the evolution of love. Our intention is to tell this new story. But today, we're going to stop for a moment. Today, we're going we're going to pause. And we're going to actually go inside, with your permission, everyone, right, in a way that we touch on every week, but it's not the center of what we're doing. But really, it's the center of everything in our hearts and our minds, which is we have to be able to know, where does the news story come from? How do we know? How do we know anything? How do we know? We've talked a lot about first principles and first values. How do we know anything about first principles and first values? How do we know? Where do we know from? How do we actually access the field of value? Welcome, everyone. How do we access the field of value and listen deeply into that field? That's a big question. And we don't do that exactly with the eye of the senses. Right? The eye of the senses is sensory empirical information, which is really important. You want to know if it's raining outside? Step outside and see if it's raining. You want to know a little more empirical information? Get a Hubble telescope. Get an fMRI machine. Right? Those are amplifications of the eye of the senses, and those are wildly important, my friends. We need those. Those are critical. There's other kind of information I can get from, right, the eye of the mind, mathematics, moral reasoning, rational discourse, right? That place, the eye of the mind from which the Western world created law. And the eye of the mind is obviously wildly important, right? So we need the eye of the mind. But this new story of value we're telling, these first principles and first values, the eye of the senses is insufficient to take us there, right? And the eye of the mind is insufficient to take us there. We need something more. And I want to call this third eye the eye of value. And maybe we just jot that in the chat box for a second, right? It's a beautiful word, isn't it? The eye of value. And the eye of value has gone under many names. It's been called the eye of the heart. The Sufis, right, called it the eye of the heart. Right? The mystical Christians called it the eye of the spirit. Right? The Hebrews called it ayin hanisteret, right? The hidden eye. Sometimes it's been called the third eye. But it's actually, I want to call it the eye of value. Right? I'm excited about that word. You can be excited with me? Right? How do we know value? It's the eye of value. It allows me to sense, to know the good, the true, right? The beautiful, right? It tells me that love is real, that eros is a true value of cosmos, that intimacy matters ultimately, right? It's the eye of value. Now, how do I access the eye of value? Okay. So there's about 10 different doors to access the eye of value. And of course, you use your mind and you use your body, but you do more than that, right? You actually want to find you meaning you, me, we want to find our way to the inside of the inside, right? To what we might call the interior face of cosmos. And value lives on the inside. Value is an interior. It's an interior that's real. And when I lose touch with value, or I let values be hijacked, right? Fundamentalists, they stand for values. No, that's a hijacking of value. That's a pre-modern hijacking, saying value is given to be by my God and no one else's, and this is what it is, and here's the list. Pay attention, be obedient, or burn, and not in a good way, in hell. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about an eye of value where we can all kind of access value, right? So there's a way to access the eye of value. And just this week, and this is just a special week, and I knew when we wrote the mail this week that this wouldn't attract kind of like, oh, let's go hear the interpretation of the movie. This would be people whose heart, right? Our hearts are together. We're one heart together. We're one love. We want to be in this special week of practice in our podcast, in One Mountain, Many Paths, in our place where we kind of practice accessing the eye of value. So here it is. Ready? So one of the most stunning ways we understand value is through chant. Chant, through music, right? Music opens something up. Music is a key that opens up the interior face of the cosmos. And all true music opens up new value. Pythagoras, who was the great mathematician, the pre-Socratic Greek, talks about two things, mathematics and music. Talks about the value in mathematics and the value in music. And music and mathematics are intimately bound up with each other. Music is the mathematics of value in the cosmos. Music is the mathematics of intimacy, right? And a chant can open me or it can close me, right? It can open a door. It can allow me to see. Now, I want to be really clear. I'm talking about the practice of music. So I'm not talking about just listening to music. I'm talking about the actual practice of becoming the music. And I'm not listening. I'm not passive. I am the music. Okay, stay close for a second. We're going to talk for just 2-3 more minutes, and then we're going to go into the practice together. We're going to spend the rest of today. It's a special day in practice. But just be with me for a second, okay? There was this gentleman in, I don't know, about 1,000 years before Jesus. His name was David. And David had a son named Solomon. He's a beautiful figure. And David had a harp. He had a harp, and Leonard Cohen likes to write songs about David's harp. And when David wanted to feel and enter the field of one love, he wanted to enter the field of one heart, he would take out his harp, and he would make music, and he would sing, right? In David's lineage, there's this master named Elisha, E-L-I-S-H-A, Elisha, who's a student of Elijah. And Elisha, when he wants to feel the field of value, he wants to know the good, the true, and the beautiful, right? He says to his associate, he says, ve-Atah, k'chuli menagen, v'haya kinagen ha-menagen, v'ati alav ruach Ladonai. In the original text, he says, take for me a music maker, a menagen, a minstrel, right? Take for me a minstrel, right? And vaya kinagen ha-menagen, now listen to this, when the music maker becomes the music, then I've entered into the field of the divine. I've entered into the field of value. It's a very big deal. We need to always up-level our consciousness from egocentric, I just love me and my family, to ethnocentric, I love me and my tribe, to world-centric, I love every human being, to cosmocentric, I love every human being, every animal, all quality, I love the whole thing. So we always have to be in the evolution of love. But at the highest levels of world-centric and cosmocentric, I've got to be able to step into the field of value, right? And I do that through a rock opera. I do it through chanting. I do it through becoming the music. I can't just listen to the rock opera. I've got to become the rock opera. I've got to become the music. So the practice of chanting, right, is the practice of becoming the music. Okay? And so we're gonna go through 6 steps here, okay? Pull up the Devi chant, right? D-E-V-I. And I'm gonna just take a couple of minutes, and I'm gonna ask you to just listen gently. I'm gonna introduce you to 2 or 3 chants, but then we're gonna chant together, okay? And I'm gonna ask, if I can, just total mad love, like, oh my God, like dearest friends, right? Outrageous lovers together. I'm gonna ask you, as the chant comes on, and I apologize for this, it's of course an insincere apology, but I am asking for an apology. Please, as the chant comes on, don't look at your phone. Don't text, right? Don't use it as a break time. Actually, let yourself enter the chant. So if you can, sit up in your chair or in your bed. I'll sit up in my chair. Uncross your legs. Uncross your arms. Let your back become the axis mundi, the pole of the world itself. And your spinal cord reaches deep into the earth. Then it goes up goes up your spinal cord and then reaches to the heaven. And you become the axis mundi. You become the connection point, the pole connecting the inner and the outer worlds, heaven and earth, interiors and exteriors. And just let the chant enter you. Now, what's going to happen is your attention is going to wander. Not because you're a bad person, not because you're not gorgeous and beautiful and stunning, because attention always wanders. And the act of meditation is to non-judgmentally bring your attention with delight back to center, back to the chant, until you gradually begin to fall in. Now, I promise you, you won't have your attention wander once. It's going to wander every few seconds. So just keep bringing it back to center. And what we're going to do now for about 8 to 10 minutes, I'm going to play 3 or 4 chants just so you can feel the chants around the world. Then we're going to step in. I want to introduce you to 3 chants which are core to one mountain, which are carrying the energy of this revolution, right? They're carrying this energy of outrageous love. Who's ready? Are we in? This is this deep, private inner week together where we're going to do, we haven't done this in years. We're just going to step in all the way, right? All the way. Let's go all the way together in this lifetime. Okay, let's stand for the evolution of love, right? Let's dream the dream that's impossible and let's make it real. Okay, but to do that, we can't do it in our skin encapsulated ego. We need to open the eye of value. We need to access the field and let the field pour into us, even as we pour into the field. That's the practice of the avatar throughout the generations. But here's the story. We can't rely anymore on one avatar. We have to be that avatar together. Right? Remember when we looked at the movie Dune? Right? It's not one Messiah. That was the mistake of the Fremen in Dune. They're waiting for the one Messiah. No. We are the Messiah together. We are the movement together. We are the movement of evolutionary energy, the eros, right? The Shakti, right? Moving awake and alive in us. We have to always be able to access that field and let it move in us and let it activate us. And when it activates us, it doesn't just give us this intense feeling of aliveness. It actually gives us access to value, to the good, the true, the beautiful, the noble, right? To love itself, to eros itself. Okay, so let's close our eyes. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. Okay? And let's find the Devi chant. Take us inside the Devi chant. That's the chant to the goddess, to she, to eros that moves through me. Now feel another taste of that. This is now coming, a chant from the Cathars. So this first chant was Kashmir Shaivite Hindu. This next chant, and let's get it ready, from the Cathars, a mystical sect in Christianity that was actually wiped out by the church, that stood for the one love and the one heart. And the wild, passionate lovers of she and Kashmir Shaivism that produced the gorgeousness of Hinduism in its most clarified and beautiful forms. The great traditions are imperfect. They were filled with tragedy, but we need to take their essence and integrate it into the new vision. 70% of the world lives in a great tradition. We need to up-level, liberate the spark from the broken vessel. And it's the spark of chant, of accessing the field of she. Now we go to the Cathars. Okay, we go to the Cathars now, right? 13th century. And again, we're going to do just 3 minutes of the chant, which is the pure, explosive access of the field of the Christ. Now, it doesn't matter whether the Christ is your tradition or not. It happens not to be the tradition I was raised in. And my mother's right turning over right now on her bed saying, what is my son talking about the Christ Gewalt? What's happened to me? What's happened? What did I do wrong? Right? But actually, it's all one field. It's all one love. It's all one heart. right? Rama and Sita, Radha and Krishna, Christ and Mary Magdalene. It's one love, it's one heart. There's different qualities of intimacy that all matter in the symphony. So now let's just catch this, let it in, and let it weave right inside of you, right? Let it weave with the first chant. Right? It's a different quality. So take us inside to the Cathar's 13th century, right? In the field of the Christ. Breathe it in. The Gyuto monks chanting and accessing the inner quality, the goodness, the truth, the beauty of reality in its Tao, right? In its Dharma, in its inner form, in its first value and principle. Different sound, different quality of intimacy. It's not that all the religions are the same. They're not. It's not that the religions are not often mediated through an ethnocentric context and broken in so many ways. They are. And in order to create the new story of value, we can't have just Dharma, we need yoga, and yoga means practice. And practice means we can access the field of Shi. And to access the field of Shi, we want to get a sense of the quality, the unique quality of each instrument. And we're just going to taste the qualities for a second. Then we're going to practice together. And each instrument's not extra. It's a unique quality of intimacy. So let's just go for the Gyuto monks right now. Gyuto monks right now. Okay? And the Gyuto order, before we play it, the Gyuto order was originally actually based in Tibet. Right? In 1950, the Chinese invaded Tibet. They massacred thousands of monks. And 59 of the Gyuto monks, right, managed to escape across the Himalayas with His Holiness the Dalai Lama into India, and they founded the Gyuto monastery in Dharamsala. One of the people on that trip was a man named Achok Rinpoche, beautiful man who became a dear friend of mine. When I met the Dalai Lama, we had a little bit of an argument I've told you about once, and he invited me to Dharamsala to resolve our argument, and Achok Rinpoche was my dear, dear, beautiful friend and guest. And Achok was on that pilgrimage. He ran the Tibetan library, right, for 40, 50 years. So Achok Rinpoche, this is for you, right, brother? Okay, the Gyuto monks. So each great tradition is chanting, but each great tradition is unique quality of intimacy, and it accesses and opens different door. Let's just listen to two more minutes, and then we're going to step into our space and take it to the next level. Our hearts are open. Our minds wander. We bring our minds back to center. Let's go to the world of the native Indian, and let's feel the sense of the dance of sacred spirit and its chant. So take us inside. Now we got a sense of this around the world. Chant opens the door, right, to this understanding, to this knowing. David, give us the code, and then we're going to step in the next level. David, take us inside to the code. Thank you, brother.
So here's our code today. Undoubtedly, one of the most crucial paths toward gnosis, true knowledge, is the path of chant. The path of chant opens the gates to the interior face of cosmos. It's not accidental that every great tradition of knowing in the classical era, from the mysteries in ancient Greece to the tribal traditions, to the warrior traditions, to the speculative and subtle schools of science and Tantra, all of them deployed the core technology of music and chant. The path of chant reveals true knowledge, and all true knowledge emerges from the field of Eros. I turn my word back to you, beloved Dr. Mark.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much, right? So here's a practice, okay? Here's a chant. And this is a chant that comes from David and Solomon. I've translated or transliterated, a sense of the words also into English. You can actually follow in the chat box the words in Hebrew, or you can just close your eyes and receive it. And with your permission, and again, this is a special week, with your permission, if you'll allow me, right, as a spiritual friend, I want to give you, again, just gently with your permission, a transmission of the chant, of the energy of Solomon, and the energy of the lineage and the knowing of Solomon. I want to tell you just a 1-second story. There's a dear friend of mine who's actually on our board at the Center for Integral Wisdom, and who may or may not be here today, a wonderful, wonderful human being who was a lead teacher and headmaster at one of the most important, central educational institutions in America, for the kind of elite of America that, produced people like Mark Zuckerberg and, that formed the generation of American business with all of its dignity and all of its tragedy. And she said to me, when I came to this institution, everybody thought that the job of the teacher was to evoke the values of the good, the true, and the beautiful. But everyone assumed that those were values, those were real. Now, 40 years later, when I'm leaving, no one even knows whether those values are real. That's what happened in postmodernity. It collapsed the field of value. And we've got so much music, but not that takes us inside into the interior face of the cosmos. Music is not entertainment. Music is the most ecstatic, urgent, pleasurable yoga practice. Okay, so let's go inside together, right? With mad audacity, with mad love. So the only way to be sane is mad love. Mizmor Shir leyom hashabbat, tov lehodot Ladonai. Now, we're about to go in, friends. Let me just say the last thing and then no more talking. So the reason we're doing this week is because, in a certain sense, not to do it is deceptive. And it's deceptive because we're hiding something essential, right? How do we get to first principles and first values? Yes, we study, we integrate, we read, we engage visionary imagination, but we get to first principles and first values because we enter the field that lives in us. And I chant all the time. And I couldn't live without chanting, without accessing that field. Now, to chant, you don't need a good voice. I'm evidence of that, right? It's got nothing to do with a good voice. It just has to do with an open heart, yearning for she, yearning for value, madly in love. So let's be madly in love. Mizmor Shir leyom hashabbat, tov lehodot Ladonai. Mizmor Shir leyom hashabbat, tov lehodot Ladonai. Mizmor Shir leyom hashabbat. It's good to sing with thee, my friends. Mizmor Shir leyom hashabbat. It's good to sing with we. Lehagid baboker chasdecha, ve-emunatcha baleylot. Lehagid baboker chasdecha, ve-emunatcha baleylot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To speak of your love in the morning, and to trust you through the night, to speak of your love in the morning, and to trust you through the night. We say to she, and she says to us, to speak of your love in the morning, and to trust you through the night, to speak of your love in the morning, and to trust you through the night. O Mizmor Shir, leyom hashabbat. So good to sing with thee, with we. Mizmor Shir, leyom hashabbat. Tov lehodot Ladonai, Lehagid baboker chasdecha, ve-emunatcha baleylot, Lehagid baboker chasdecha, ve-emunatcha baleylot. To speak of your love in the morning, and to trust you through the night, and speak to her directly. To speak of your love in the morning, and to trust you through the night. To speak of your love in the morning, and to trust you through the night. To speak of your love in the morning, and to trust you through the night. And really, when we chant all day and all night, why would you ever want to stop? Kant said, you can't get to the ultimate nature of reality, noumena and phenomena. You can't get inside. Kant was partially right. Your mind can't get inside all the way. But there are bypass roads which take you directly to noumena itself, to the numinous, to the inside of the inside. And that's what chant is. It's a bypass road. When all the gates are closed, the gates of chant are open. The second chant is, for you are the master of liberation. For you are the master of transformation. Translation from the original, the Atah bal Ha-Yeshuot, ve-Atah bal Ha-nechamot. For you are the master of liberation. Just feel the joy in it. And you are the master of transformation. For you, you, for you are, beloved, the master of transformation, and you are the master of liberation. hey, na, di, na, di, na, hey, 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 ho, ho. Hey, na, di, na, di, na, hey, hey, ho. Hey, na, di, na, di, na, hey, hey, ho. Hey, na, di, na, di, na, hey, 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 ho, ho. Ki awatahu baleyshuot, baleyshuot, uval ha-nechamot, for you are the master of liberation, and you are the master of transformation. Hey, da, di, da, di, da, di, da, hey, hey, hey. Hey, na, di, na, di, na, ho, ho, ho. Hey, na, di, na, di, na, hey, 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 ho, ho. Hey, na, di, na, di, na, hey, hey, ho. Hey, na, di, na, di, na, hey, hey, ho. Hey, na, di, na, di, na, hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. For you are the master of liberation, and you are the master of transformation. Hey, da, di, na, di, na, di, na, hey, hey, ho. Hey, di, na, di, na, di, na, hey, hey, ho. Hey, di, na, di, na, di, na, hey, 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 ho, ho. Hey, di, na, di, na, di, na, hey, hey, ho. Hey, di, na, di, na, di, na, hey, hey, ho. Hey, di, na, di, na, di, na, hey, 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 ho, 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 ho. And the words come from the silence. So notice that the chanter chants also with their body, with their hands, because you can feel the subtle currents of Shakti and you can access them and reorganize them and clarify them and purify them. And you can open up worlds in a chant. Okay, here's the third chant. The third chant was written by a master of mine at a place of great tragedy. And he went to this place of tragedy and he went inside the tragedy to turn fate into destiny, to turn the tragic into the post-tragic, to turn suffering into transformation, into joy. And so it begins slowly, and we're going to try and actually enter into the inside of the inside and to open up new gates, to reorder something, to clarify, to set direction, to weave, right, the sacred power of the chant. Nina, 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 ho. Nina, Nina, hey, ho. Nina, Nina, hey, ho. Nina, 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 hey. Nina, 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 ho. Nina, 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 hey. Nina, na, ho. Dai, da, din, dai, dai, din, dai, da, din, dai. Arinda da rinda da rinda hey arinda rinda da ho ninda da rinda da rinda da rinda arinda da rinda da rinda hey arinda rinda da hey na rinda hey ho rinda da rinda 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 hey ho hey ho, rinna, 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 hey, ho, hey, ho, rinna, 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 hey, ho, hey, ho, rinna, rinna, hey, hey, rinna, 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 hey, himma, rinna, 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 hey, himma, rinna, 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 hey, ho, hey, ho, bimma, rinna, 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 hey, ho, hey, ho, bimba-da-rinna, hey, hey, himma-da-rinna-da-rinna, hey, himma-da-rinna-rinna, rinna, himma-da-rinna-rinna, hey, himma-da-rinna-rinna-rinna, hey, ho, hey, ho, bimba-da-rinna-rinna, rinna, himma-da-rinna, himma-da-re, hinna-da-rinna, hey, hey, himma-da-rinna-da-rinna, hey, himma-da-rinna-da-rinna-rinna, himma-da-rinna-da-rinna, hey, hum-ma-da-rinna-rinna-rinna, hey, ho, hey, ho, bim-ma-da-rinna-rinna-rinna, hey, ho, hey, ho, him-ma-da-rinna, hey. But I want to gently invite everyone, to chant wherever you are, and to find a way to the practice of chant, to kind of access the field, and let's access the field together. So this next chant is a love chant, and from the Song of Solomon. And he chants it to she, and she chants it to he, but not just the romantic beloveds, right? We're madly in love. Our love lists are too short, right? We're outrageous lovers together. No person's a stranger in the world. Everyone's already my beloved, not my romantic beloved. No outrageous love. We're friends. We're walking together. And we're partners in this revolution. And we're committed together. Hinach Yafah, Rayati. Hinach Yafah. Behold, you are beautiful, beloved. Behold, behold. Hinach Yafah, Rayati. Hinach Yafah, beloved. Behold, you are beautiful, beloved. Behold, behold. Behold, you are beautiful, beloved. Behold, behold. Behold, you are beautiful, beloved. Behold, behold. Hinach Yafah, Rayati. Hinach Yafah. Hinach Yafah, Rayati. Hinach Yafah. You feel the different quality. Holy brothers and sisters, here we go. You can be wildly intellectual and wildly secular and be fully of the world and yet access the field, because without the field, oh my goddess, here we go. Behold, you are beautiful, beloved. Behold, behold. Behold, you are beautiful. Can we sing to each other around the world? Behold, behold. Hinach Yafah, Rayati. Hinach Yafah. Hinach Yafah, Rayati. Hinach Yafah. Behold, you are beautiful, beloved. Behold, behold. 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 Sing it to someone. Look in the mirror and sing it to yourself. Feel reality singing it to you. Behold, we are beautiful together, beloveds. Behold, 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 you are beautiful, beloved. Behold, 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 you are beautiful, beloved. Behold, 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 you are beautiful, beloved. Behold, behold, our love lists are so way short. Behold, you are beautiful, beloved. Behold, behold. Hinach Yafah, Rayati. Hinach Yafah. Behold, you are beautiful, beloved. Last time. Behold, behold. Behold means, oh my God, wow. Right? I'm blown away by your beauty. Behold. Hinach Yafah, Rayati. Right? Behold, you are beautiful, beloved. Behold, behold. So we're going to end with one last chant. And we wanted to drop into chant this week because we spend the last 6 weeks on Don't Look Up. And we're going to be picking a new movie coming at you soon. And we're going to be going deep into the Dharma. But we actually have to not be deceptive. We're not operating just within an analytic mind. We're operating in deep practice in order to create a new grammar of value. We need to access the eye of value. We're not bypassing mind. I sit 17, 18 hours a day and read and research and write and teach, and I'm doing everything I can with all of my power. We're all Da Vinci together to enact and tell this new story and to write it down in key volumes with hundreds of pages of primary source footnotes across the sciences. Okay, we got that. But underneath that, right, where do we live? We live in the field of value, the scientists, the interior science and the exterior sciences. We live in the field of value, right? We got to access that field every day, again and again. And I could not live if I didn't chant. And I'd be lying to you. I'd be utterly deceptive if I told you anything else. So this is my confession, right? Right? Let's confess who we are. We are participants in the field. She lives in us and we live in her. We call that anthro-ontology. It's a fancy name we gave it. Anthro, within me, ontology. The realness of value lives. The mysteries are within us. We've got to open the gate. So here's the last chant, with your permission. Cha, so good to be with everyone. And this is our prayer. And when Leonard Cohen, who we'll come back to next week, is singing the holy and the broken hallelujah, he's chanting, right? That's why there's more covers of that song than anything else. He's not singing, he's chanting. People ask, what's Leonard Cohen doing? He's not quite singing. No, he's chanting. Does everyone get that? Wow, he's chanting. That's exactly what he's doing. Cha. No words to this one, okay? No words. Hey, da, hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. You feel it? We're opening the gates. Hey, da, hey, hey, ho, 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 ho. Let's open all the gates. Hey, da, hey, 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 ho. And remember, you don't need a good voice to chant. I'm evidence of that. Just chant with your heart. Hey, da, hey, hey, ho, 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 ho. There's Santa Claus. Hey, da, hey, 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 ho. Hey, da, hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Hey, da, hey, hey, ho, 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 ho. Hey, da, hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Hey, da, hey, hey, ho, 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 ho. Hey, da, hey, 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 ho. Hey, rinai, hey, hey, rinai, hey, hey, rinna, rinna, hey, hey, rinai, hey, hey, rinai, hey, rinai, hey, rinna, rinna, hey, hey, rinna, rinna, hey, hey, rinna, rinna, hey, hey, rinna, rinna, hey, hey, rinna, rinna, hey. Hey, rinna, rinna, hey, hey, rinna, rinna, hey, hey, rinna, rinna, hey, 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 rindai, hey, hey, rindai, hey, hey, rindai, hey, hey, rinna, rinna, hey, ho, rindai, hey, rindai, hey, rindai. Hey, rinna, rinna, hey, 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 rindai, hey, rindai, hey, rindai, hey, rinna, rinna, hey. Ho, rindai, hey, rindai, hey, rindai, hey, ho. Hey, rinda, rinda, hey, ho. Hey, ra, hey, la, hey, ho. Hey, rinda, rinda, hey, rinda, hey. Hey, ra, hey, la, hey, ho. Here's the truth. And this, I swear to you on my life, right? The chant's always there. It's always there. Mozart didn't create it, he heard it. He heard it. And my unique self is my unique chant. I don't need to sing it in a particular way, but find your song, right? We live our song. There's a beautiful African tale that when a person's born, the mothers of the tribe go to the rocks and they go to the earth and they weave together from the rocks and the earth and the sky and the ancestors. They weave together the unique melody, the unique song of that new person being born. Because that new person being born is a new quality of intimacy. And if God is the infinity of intimacy, then the human being is a unique intimacy, meaning a unique God. And they weave together. And then when the person's born, they have the song and they greet the person into the world, the boy or the girl, with their song. And at every stage of the person's life, the tribe gathers and they sing their chant, their unique chant. And if the person goes wrong, right, they made a mistake, a violation, they don't punish them in this horrific way. They bring the tribe together and they sing the person their song to call them back to their unique self, right? Oh my God. So my friends, the whole world, kola olam kulo hilula damya, they say in Aramaic, it's all a great wedding. And we're all each other's bride and groom. Not in the romantic sense. I have a particular bride and groom. That's a particular gorgeous, stunning journey. If that's my journey in this lifetime, and for some of us it is, and for some of us it's not. And that's beautiful both ways. But at some deeper level, none of us are strangers. And it's just the last chant that I heard coming down, a friend heard coming down in Saphid, in the Sea of Galilee, and shared it with me. And it's when I turn to every person in the world and say, oh my God, we're not strangers. We know each other. We love each other madly already. And your hurt is my hurt, and your pain is my pain, and your joy is my joy, and there's no one outside the circle. That's homo amor. That's when homo sapien becomes homo amor. That's the new human. That's the new humanity. So here's the last one. And it means, oh my God, beloved, like we were in the Garden of Eden, we love each other madly today. Usameach Oteye Sawamach Eoreim Awawawawawahuvim Akisameyechacha Oyetzircha Beganeyeyen Mikedem No person's a stranger. Osameyeach Oteyesawamach Eoreim Awawawawahuvim Okisameyechacha Oyetzircha Beganeyeyen Mikedem She's true. She'll never let you down. She'll always be there if you call her.